channel. I just want to thank you guys for coming. My name is Fergus Fausto. I do martial art tutorials and I also do gear review focusing on self-protection. Anyways, I want to thank you to my subscribers that have subscribed to my channel. There is about almost 2,000 subscribers in the year 2020. So one of my goals for this year is to be a little bit more organized in the channel. Originally when I first started, I wanted to really just archive some of the martial art trainings that we do here. And then eventually over time I just released it in public with no sense of really editing. It was really just to record what I had on my iPhone and send it to the students that I teach here. But as the channel grew, I think people more were interested in the stand-up jiu-jitsu that I really focus on, as well as the Filipino martial arts that I incorporated in the channel. And I also throw in a little bit of Wing Chun as well. Let me know what you guys want to see more of. If you want to learn more basics and work your way from the ground up, or if it's just making your martial art effective using some of our combatives approach, just let me know. Again, leave a comment down below. What I want to do today is to cover effective joint locking. Many of you guys on YouTube disregard joint locking. Yes, joint locking doesn't work in the MMA realm. That's the last thing I want to do is try to do a joint lock, and that's not what the intentions of a joint locking is. Again, to make a joint locking effective, you have to have some sort of distraction at the beginning, whether if it's a pain, whether if it's off balancing, whether it's a strike and then getting into the joint lock. That's what we do. I work in the ER and I've effectively used these joint locks to subdue most people. Again, I'm not there to pummel them or anything like that. There's a bunch of cameras around, and that's the last thing you want to do is try to do any MMA techniques on a patient, whether if the patient is having a behavioral health issue or that person is on meth.
And more recently, there's Mexican Percocet, also known as M30. These are laced with fentanyl. Has to be reversed with Narcan, and when they get Narcan, they become combative. This is why we have to use effective joint locking.
To effectively use joint locking, you must have a couple of things ahead of that. No, I won't go into a situation just trying to do a joint lock. There has to be some components that you have to do. First is distraction. Distraction can be anything from an eye gouge, it could be any striking tool, whether if it's your hand, open hand, a slap. And then another component is off balancing, whether if that's just a quick body shift or pulling them off balance. And then going into the joint lock, you'll sometimes get that resistance. And then that's when you have to transition from one joint locking to another. A lot of times people see my videos and they see a joint locking transition moves, and they say, oh, that won't work. Yes, it won't work. You're not gonna go and transition to a basic wrist lock, to a reverse wrist lock, to a chicken wing. You're not gonna do that. But there are times when you have these, you're in the joint lock, and then you have to transition because either A, they recovered, maybe the pain is not effective for them, so you have to go into another transition. Incidentally too, that when you joint lock somebody and they may not feel the pain, but you're also limiting that joint from moving. So if it's not a pain compliant kind of thing, you can also immobilize. So remember, joint locking is for immobilization as well. And when you get advanced and learning more of the wrist locks, you also learn how to disarm weapons as well. In this video, you'll see an old school, what we call a pump handle. If you did it the traditional way, of course, somebody can bend the arm. The key thing is to create that ramp, and you'll see in this video right here, that by creating a ramp, you already cut out the slack where there's no way of reversing. It is also off-balancing them as well, and you're able to get into that lock effectively. Sometimes dropping your weight can off-balance your opponent. So again, 1, you have to use a distraction, either pain or off-balancing. 2, you have to be able to transition from one technique to another.
I wanted to finish off with some clips of effective joint locking. A lot of these guys have effectively used certain principles to make their joint locking work. I want to also give a special thanks to my first instructor of Kota Jiu-Jitsu, Sensei Randy Breeden.